Washington has started 5-0. The Huskies back in business, looking for a little bit of consistency. Idaho only brought back 3 players from a team that finished 4-25 a season ago. These longtime Northwest rivals meet tonight on the campus of the University of Washington in Seattle. Hello again, Brian Davis along with Bob Weiss. 3 freshmen now in Lorenzo Romar's starting lineup as he goes with Adrian Oliver from Modesto, California tonight at shooting guard.
And Oliver has been playing better and better as the season has gone on. He's a scorer that can get his own shot. He can make plays, and he's become a good defender. And on top of that, at his size, he's a good rebounder. And I don't just mean long rebounds. He goes in there and rebounds in traffic sometimes. So he's a very good player. I think it's going to work out fine.
Oliver, along with Spencer Hawes and Quincy Pondexter, 3 true freshmen in the Washington starting 5. Is Lorenzo Romar taking a chance here?
I don't think so. You know, this is kind of like exhibition season. This is a time to experiment a little bit. I think he's trying to extend Oliver's game and confidence and make him a better player.
Well, with Oliver going into the front 5, then Ryan Appleby goes back to the bench, and this is a place where he did well last year.
He did tremendously well there. It's something he's used to. He handles it well, and you know, I think no matter what he says, everybody kind of likes to start. But if you are disgruntled, he's the only one that's going to know about it if he's a class guy, and he is.
Maybe the change in role will help because this season Appleby's shooting 37%. Perimeter shooting liable to figure big for Idaho and George Pfeiffer's chances tonight. He's going to rely on a pair of 5'10" guards, Keone Watson, who is one of the players back from last year's team. Also, Mario Mackey. These guys, again, 5'10". They got to spread Washington out because the Vandals come to Seattle with nobody taller than 6'8" in the lineup. Washington 5-0, ranked 13th in the country. That's 3 up in the Associated Press media poll, coming off of a 90-83 victory 5 nights ago over Eastern Washington. Idaho at 1-4 on the season, coming off of a 25-point loss on Sunday to Gonzaga in Spokane. Bob, pressure defense. Washington likes to use it, and again, an undersized Vandals team may have trouble dealing with it.
Well, they'd like to, you know, use the clock, help each other get a good shot by running their offense. And the problem with that is that I haven't seen a better college team this year at taking you out of what you want to run. So they're going to receive a lot of pressure, and they've been working on drills on how to handle that, and we'll see how it works out tonight.
Washington has turned the ball over an average 21 times. Idaho only 16, but ball distribution is a problem for Idaho. Only 8 assists on average per game. Mentioned that these are longtime rivals here in the Great Northwest. This will be their 173rd meeting going back to 1909. There was a period when they were in the same athletic conference and sometimes played 4 times a year, but this is only the 11th time since 1980 that the Huskies and the Vandals have met. Now, season tickets, $10. You could buy a soda and a popcorn for $10 here today.
If you're lucky.
Idaho again 4-25. They fired Leonard Perry after that season and promoted his assistant George Pfeiffer. We'll tell you more about his story, but we'll also note as we look at Washington's lineup, Justin Dentman, the point guard, with a career-high 23 points against Eastern Washington last weekend. Lorenzo Romar had roles in 2 Washington victories. The Huskies' only 2 victories ever over top-ranked teams, which may be germane in a couple of weeks because UCLA, whom they will play Pac-10 on New Year's Eve, is now first by national ranking. George Pfeiffer's Idaho Vandals. Keone Watson averaging 17 points a game. He's one of the 3 guys that Pfeiffer brought back last season. Desmond and Wolke is, again, at 6'8", the tallest man in the Vandals lineup. Pfeiffer, born here in the Seattle area in Everett, moved as a boy to Idaho. Became an assistant coach last year in Moscow after spending 16 years as the head coach at Lewis Clark State College in Lewiston, Idaho. Spencer Haas, the 7-footer, says there are just a couple of things I'd like to improve about my game. Haas with 14 blocks in 5 games. Consider that last year Brandon Roy led Washington with 26 blocks in 33 games. Against a lineup this short tonight, he might be able to fatten up.
Well, a lot of it depends on if we pressure him and take him into the basket and make him shoot in there. That's when he can get the blocks. But this team loves to throw up threes. I think you mentioned before to me that 43% of their field goal attempts are 3-point shots.
Take a look at Clyde Johnson at 6'7". Michael Crowell has got an assignment tonight. He's going to be probably up against John Brockman, as Brockman runs the Washington offense off the elbow at the edge of the free throw lane. Quincy Pondexter at the top of your screen. Got a fresh cut. He's all the way down. Took it tight. Shaved his head. And maybe that'll improve his offense, which has been pretty good. Brockman misses in the battle for the rebound. Brockman scrambles and saves.
And that was one of the things they were really worried about. Second shot attempts with this big lineup.
Crowell fouls Brockman as he goes to the rack, and so John Brockman will shoot a pair.
Yeah, it's going to be imperative for University of Idaho to hold them to one shot when they do get him to miss.
Brockman 12 of 20 on charity.
12 of 21.
12 of 21 now. And free throw shooting has been an issue for the Huskies. 71% on the season. They have missed 11 free throws in each of the last 2 games. Victories over Sacramento State and Eastern Washington make it 13 as Brockman goes 0 for. Here's Mackey. Gets a pick, kicks it to the far side, throws it out of bounds when it looked like he may have been better advised just to take it to the rack, try to get something done inside.
Well, he drew everybody to him, and he had a man in the corner. The problem was he faked, including the University of Washington players, he faked the Idaho players out because he went to the basket to offensive rebound, and he would have ended up with a shot in the corner.
Dentman gets it back from Haas and is off the front of the iron, but Brockman quickly another rebound. Finds nothing but backboard, but Haas is there to clean it up. Through Pondexter to Denton, a little floater from inside the free throw line, and maybe the cold weather here in Seattle has affected everybody's shooting touch as Keone Watson goes to the rack and comes up short.
He did a good job of taking it to Pondexter's body, but Pondexter did a great job of avoiding the foul, and Pondexter finishes it at the other end.
Fed by Adrian Oliver, who with 5 assists against Eastern Washington last weekend led the Huskies.
He also led them in rebounding, which was amazing. 9 rebounds.
Johnson inside to Desmond Nowaki, who misses. Pondexter's rebound. Oliver. Crowell.
Oh.
And on the long pass in transition, Johnson can't handle it.
No, it was, that was a good pass. Great run out. He just couldn't complete the play. Pretty good pass. But that's hard to handle.
Haas, longest shot he may have taken all year long, and as Brockman battles for the rebound, Johnson saved it, but to nobody.
And on top of that, I think Brockman was the one that hit it. Coach Pfeiffer's not too excited about the way this thing's going so far with the rebounding.
I'm not sure either coach is very happy. Idaho 0 for 2 from the floor, but Washington 1 out of 7, and Brockman missed a pair of free throws. Good ball rotation, and Pondexter double teamed along the baseline, in and out of the cylinder, but Brockman off the offensive rebound. Brockman with 3 boards. Washington with 5 offensive rebounds. Mackey, contact, but Haas comes away with it for Washington. Gets it back from Dentman, and it is hammered by Clyde Johnson as he goes up from the left side.
Here you'll see Brockman. This has been the problem so far. They're making Utah or Washington miss. but the big guys are just cleaning up on the glass.
8 rebounds. 3 apiece for Haas and Brockman, and Haas playing follow the leader, but that's not the lead you want to follow.
So far, Idaho's best play is foul a shooter. If we can get the rebound maybe off of that. They're 1 for 4 off the free throw line.
Haas on the season now is 9 of 15. Here's Mackey, a junior college transfer out of Aurora, Colorado. 6 JC transfers brought in by Pfeiffer. Tough shot by Watson. High floater, and Watson tries to steal it from Dentman, who resists the attempt and then finishes at the other end from about 15 feet. And time taken, George Pfeiffer, for all the sloppiness the Huskies have displayed, they still have scored the first 7 points of this basketball game, and we're 3 minutes and change into it. Brian Davis and Bob Weiss at the Bank of America Arena in Seattle. Take a look at Spencer Haas's rebounding.
That's what he is wanting to up his numbers with rebounding, and so is their staff. They'd like him to rebound a little more, and he just has to be aggressive. A good rebounder goes and gets the ball and creates space, and I don't think Spencer does that right now. I think he takes what he has, but the good rebounders take what space you give them, and then they create an even bigger space.
Well, and you consider that Haas is 7 foot plus, and Brockman is headed in that direction. One thing you give Idaho some credit for here in the early going is that they have made their living from beyond the arc, but have yet to attempt a three-point shot. Only 4 field goal attempts so far for the Vandals. And Johnson looking for Watson to break to the basket, but he put on the brakes, and that is the 3rd turnover now for the Vandals.
And the last 3 times down, the pressure that the University of Washington is putting on has really bothered them. They have not been able to run anything. That's why you saw tough shots being taken by the guards that are trying to penetrate.
Appleby now on the floor and misses his first offering beyond the arc. Now here's that full court pressure. Washington with a little trap. And then a recovery as Watson brings it into the forecourt. Artem Wallace lets Johnson go. And a bounce pass to Mackey, scores from 3, and Idaho, 4 minutes and a couple of seconds into the basketball game, finally finds its first points of the night.
And that was the first time you really saw University of Idaho run their pattern, make the cuts, move the ball. They weren't able to do that in a couple of the other times down the floor.
Appleby carried the basketball, so a turnover for Washington puts the ball back in Idaho's hands early first half, the B of A. Lorenzo Romar said we finished pretty well. Our second half against Eastern Washington was okay. A little ragged start, but good transition here off another rebound by Spencer Haas.
And look at the pressure. You got the overplay in the wing. There's nowhere to go, so he finally just tries to dribble in and get a shot instead of being able to execute any kind of offense.
Inbounds pass is made by one of 2 true freshmen. This is not a work of art. Again, it's cold outside, cold inside as well for both sides. In the corner, the freshman from Tucson, Arizona, David Jackson for Idaho, well guarded by Brandon Burmeister. Gasser picks it up, and they are pushing the Vandals far away from the basket. Mackey looked like Appleby got ball from our vantage point, but he is called for the personal foul, and Mario Mackey will go to the free throw line, where he is shooting, guess what, 65%.
Yeah, they've been having a little trouble from the line also. See, that was the kind of play where you want Hawes in the ball game. He might have been able to come over and block that type of shot where you're forcing a man to come in and on a dribble, off balance a little bit, out of control, and the big man can pick him off.
Denton back on the floor replacing Oliver. Denton mentioned a career-high 23 points against Eastern Washington, was the most valuable player in the Basketball Travelers Classic that opened the season for the University of Washington. Mackey drops his second. Huskies in transition. Brandon Burmeister, one of the Huskies' two seniors on the floor. Through Denton to Artem Wallace, and then Burmeister lights the three-point shot, and with good reason. He is 7 of 15 from 3 on the season, but on the backside, Johnson finds Washington asleep. He's hammered and will go to the free throw line.
They've been running out and gotten a couple opportunities. They threw one away just off the fingertips. That one they complete. They've got to, Washington has to get back with this team. They want to run you. The bigs run.
Take a look at the ball movement that left it in Burmeister's hands for the three-pointer just a moment ago.
An NBA three, that was.
Johnson, like Mackey, from Aurora, Colorado, though they went to the different high schools. Sneaking a look from Burmeister over to Clyde Johnson, had 3 points and 7 rebounds before fouling out last Sunday at Gonzaga. He makes a pair and brings the Vandals back within 4. Now Washington pushing the pace. Off the rub, Gasser gets it back from Denton and can't finish, but gets the rebound. Had 5 of those against Eastern. And Appleby from 3 finds his stroke.
And there go the bigs running out again, but I think Appleby's going to like playing against this team. You're going to get the open threes because they play a little bit of a zone to start out. They've got 2 small guards. They start out in a tandem, and 3-point shots are what you're going to get. But you have to hit them.
It's all we've seen for a while, and Gasser got tangled up underneath the basket, and the foul is on Idaho. Desmond Nwoke, a 6'8" Nigerian, and that a non-shooting foul, but the 3rd against Idaho. Burmeister from the corner this time with the finish. 3 in a row now from beyond the arc for the Huskies, and suddenly they have doubled Idaho. Mackey loses the basketball, and then nice recovery by Watson, who before he is tied up by Appleby, calls timeout. Heads up play by the senior from San Diego.
And it would have been their ball anyway. They got the arrow, but this way they saved the arrow for the next jump ball.
Washington playing its 6th game of the season. Going to take a step up in class here pretty quick. Week after next, they'll be at Gonzaga. And then a week off before Portland State comes to town. But in the week that follows, LSU.
Some good games coming up
here in Seattle. And then again, Pac-10 play begins at the end of the calendar year. And a date with UCLA looms on December the 31st.
Kind of slide into things easily, huh?
Yeah, it's just, well, so far so good. But 3 top 25 teams the rest of the way this month.
Well, and UCLA, you start out with that?
I'd put them at the top of the list.
Yep.
Everybody else has after their victory in the Maui Invitational. Johnson trying to make something happen, finds Mackey in the corner, but Denton jumps out on him. Watson from 3. Vandals 2 of 2 beyond the arc, 4 of 8 overall after starting 0 for their first 4. Appleby makes a move, takes it back inside. Wallace from Denton. Air ball. Cleaned up by Burmeister, but right to the freshman Jackson. Watson left all alone, and he is 2 for his last 2 beyond the arc.
This game complexion has changed a little bit, hasn't it? Nobody could make a bucket to begin with. Now they're all dropping them.
Nobody can miss. Watson has 8 points. 3 of 5 overall from the floor. 2 of 2 beyond the arc. Artem Wallace is called for his second personal foul. He's going to take a seat. These teams, Bob, 6 of 9 from 3, all in. Watson had 11 points at Gonzaga. It had 26 against South Dakota State, 30 the next game against Montana State.
And after getting hot, who do they send in to guard him?
Quincy Pondexter.
Mr. Pondexter.
Nice rotation out to Mackey from 3. 3 consecutive triples, and Idaho has found itself a 1-point lead.
And after a 7-0 start, you thought this thing was going to be over in about 5 minutes. All of a sudden, it's a ball game.
Brockman on the scramble after the rebound. That was his 4th. Jackson, the freshman, fouls him. Next foul against Idaho will put Washington into the bonus. Pondexter posting up Johnson and missing with the left hand, but gets the rebound and is rewarded for his efforts with a trip to the free throw line. Washington now with 8 offensive rebounds in the first not even 8 minutes of this basketball game.
Yeah, that's what's keeping them in it. And you know, Brockman won't, nothing's going to show up in the stat sheet, but he's the one that knocked that ball loose. Excuse me. And Pondexter was able to pick it up.
Pondexter leading the Huskies. 5 teams in the Pac-10 are led at this moment in scoring by freshmen, including the Washington Huskies. You take a look at his pedigree, and coming into the ball game, Pondexter averaging 15.5 points, just under 7 rebounds.
And he breaks the free throw jinx by putting both of them in.
And he was a 71%er too. So that is indeed progress. Now bothering Watson, who's looking for a little help inside. Brockman overplays the passing lane, and he's fouled as he runs away again by the freshman David Jackson. So Washington trying to assert itself, being tested early by Idaho. Through the first 5 games, opponents were shooting 25% from 3 against the Huskies. 4 of 4 tonight, but Washington defensively screwing it down.
Yeah, and watch here. Here's Pondexter. He's probably guarding a guy a foot shorter than him and very, very quick, and he's able to keep in front of him and cause that turnover by a bad pass. Good overplay by Brockman.
Now Pondexter with the ball in his hands. Trying a no-look. Actually, Hawes, I think the pass was meant to go all the way across to Burmeister, but Hawes got in the way and in transition. First miss from 3 by Idaho as Mackey is a little bit long with it. Denman to Brockman at the free throw line. No better luck with the clock moving for Brockman from that distance. Mackey surprised everybody, including Jackson. Burmeister got a hand on it, and Michael Crowell with the finish. Burmeister going to talk about an NBA 3, the long rebound. Pondexter battling and stepped on the end line. Great effort by a couple of players, and Pondexter a little bit slow to get up as he collided at the very end of all of that with Keone Watson.
Yeah, he felt a little funny in that one because he was just making the pass, still trying to make a pass as he was landing. He couldn't roll.
What do you think of the tight look on Quincy?
Well, you know, I'm a fan of the tight look.
Some of us have no choice.
I'm one of them.
Crowell. And underneath, 3-second violation as Desmond and Wilkie waited a little too long.
Number 35, Trevor Morris, back in for Idaho.
Trevor Morris, a sophomore, another one of those 6 junior college transfers into Idaho's lineup. Dentman driving past Mackey, throws up a tough shot, winds up getting it back, but Mackey takes it away as Dentman loses the handle, and Mackey takes it coast to coast for the score. Pondexter bothered by Crowell, then Hawes along the baseline, fouled after the shot by Nwokey.
And that's a, you know, that's a no-no. You don't want to foul a jump shooter, but what a great shot on the other end here. Watch his body control. He's going in against a good, you know, a guy that's a good defender and bigger than he is. He takes it right to his chest, lays it in.
Wide open. Combat pay for our camera crew. Nice job, Rob. Way to shake it off. Hawes makes it consecutive free throws now. And 3 in a row. Vandals still lead the Huskies by a point as we reach the middle stage of the first half, the Bank of America Arena. Mackey gets a rub from his big man. Ball goes through Crowell inside to Andrew Madsen for the finish. Good ball movement.
That was great ball movement, and it really wasn't part of the offense. They overplayed him, got him out of the offense, but then they started just drawing and kicking and playing basketball. Great reactions by the University of Idaho.
Brockman snatches the ball away from Madsen, then feeds Hawes underneath the other side.
That was a nice pass by Brockman. He had to put that on the money. Hawes has to catch it in traffic.
Hawes, the leading Washington scorer, met on the floor with 5 points. Trevor Morris drives along the baseline and scores. Morris, the sophomore out of Missoula, Montana. Dentman and Brockman got crossed up just a little bit. Jackson left Pondexter room to drive, and he this time gets the shooters rolling, then a little bit more than that.
I thought he had no chance on that shot. I can't see how he got it. He ought to be a good baseball pitcher because I think he had to throw a curveball to get it around the backboard.
Madsen double teamed by Hawes and Brockman. Crowell at the elbow. And a blocking foul is called.
Here we're going to see Pondexter's shot. He gets deep on the baseline. Shooter's touch.
Crowell, I think, was called for moving screen on the play.
Yeah, you can't. You got to be really careful when you're passing your body. Oh,
everything but the finish for Brockman. Madsen's rebound. And Idaho has a chance to extend the lead. Jackson, great length, good springs. Gets over Brockman, but underneath.
I thought Appleby was going to get away with that one. He had a hold.
He did not. That's his second personal foul. Johnson back on the floor replacing Jackson. Off the inbound pass, Johnson is fouled as he goes to the rack, and he'll shoot 2.
That looked familiar. That was just like we saw him practicing in the shoot-around this morning. Great execution.
Nice read, too.
Pass was on the money. Haas almost picked it off.
Johnson is a team that does not rebound the ball particularly well. 28 a game. He is the leader at just a tick under 7 boards a game. Phil Nelson, freshman from Kaiser, Oregon, onto the floor, shooting a long one, and it's getting physical as they go for the rebounds. Take a look at how we started and where we are right now. I would say that that definitely gives Idaho an advantage.
Well, they're hanging in there, and you know, I think Coach Romar talked to you, didn't he, about wanting to put 2 halves together. He, you know, the last game he played well in the second half, but he still hasn't been able to do it. And this, if this is any indication, this has not been a good half so far.
Oh, Mackey has kind of lost his mind, walked and then stepped out of bounds as he tried to make a play to the outside. 7 turnovers for Idaho, but the Vandals lead the Huskies by 3. Brian Davis and Bob Weiss in Seattle. We talked about the 5'10" guards for the Idaho Vandals. Keone Watson and Mario Mackey. There's Watson, who had been struggling from beyond the 3-point arc. 1 out of 10 his previous 2 games, but 3 of 5 tonight. He's got 8 points, and Mackey with 9. And they have helped the Vandals build this 3-point lead. Defensively now, Idaho playing with a little bit of energy as well. Appleby left alone to score.
You know, when you're the opposing coach, you don't want to see him taking that shot.
Near miss for Johnson. O.J. Aworo, a freshman out of Alief-Elsik High School. That's Rashard Lewis's high school in the Houston area. On the ball at the bottom of your screen to the left side. 5 seconds to shoot. Watson skying, and again, that real high arc shot that bounces off the glass and off the rim and into the hands of the Huskies.
Well, that's why Watson and Mackey are leading this team. Well, besides that, they're good shooters, but the Huskies take you completely out of your offense most of the time, and it's those guys that can break you down by themselves that are getting all the shots, and they're hitting them.
What a battle at the other end between Brockman and Aworo, and Adrian Oliver dodges a bit of a bullet as he doesn't handle the rebound cleanly, but Washington awarded possession. Brockman goes to treat the floor burn on the Washington bench. Now you've got Nelson, Pondexter, Haas, Oliver, all 4 freshmen, and the junior Appleby on the floor for the Huskies. Nelson to Appleby. Wow. Sidearm that one.
Yeah, that was a little bit uncharacteristic. He usually likes to have his feet set. He just took that one off the dribble.
There's Aworo, the Nigerian-born, who last year led his high school team with 11 assists a game. That was tops in the Houston metropolitan area. Mentioned ball distribution's been a problem. 5 assists, though, tonight on 9 made baskets for Idaho. But again, they are draining lots of shot clock. Clyde Johnson spins, fires, rebound, Spencer Haas. Haas double teamed. Nelson left alone for 3, and he finds the range. Phil Nelson.
He's a good shooter that's been having a lot of trouble. He's only shooting about 14–15% from threes, but he is a good shooter. Once he gets his rhythm, gets his confidence, he'll help this team.
Came in 2 of 14. He is 1 out of 2, and Nelson has given the Huskies the lead. Washington led by scoring the first 7 points of the basketball game. Idaho found its stroke, particularly from 3, to take the lead, but Nelson breaks the tie with this shot.
And a good pass. It's on the money. He's being pressured. He still finds the open man and gives him a pass with pepper on it so that Nelson has time to get it off. He throws a floater there. People rotate. There's no shot. Great pass by Hawes.
Nelson, you look at his numbers, averaging about 12 minutes a game. And Lorenzo Romar told us yesterday, just a matter of time. He will find his rhythm. He will get comfortable. You know, learning curves are different for different people, and when we compare Nelson to Pondexter to Oliver, I would suggest to you that those guys are particularly quick learners, not so much that there's anything wrong with Nelson.
No, and the funny part was when I would watch them in practices early in the year, Nelson, I thought, was you know, further along. He seemed to be like the guy that understood how everything was supposed to work. He was shooting the ball well. He looked like he was doing a great job. But when he started going up and down, all of a sudden Pondexter and Oliver sprung ahead of him.
Those two undersized guards for Idaho get everything but the finish, and at the other end, Nelson's sort of like, look at what I found.
You know, I think that was a pass. I'd like to see that again. It looked like it was a controlled, you know, snap from center. He just threw it.
Mackey left a little bit of room, and underneath, I think Appleby is going to be called for his 3rd personal foul, pushing off as he battled for the rebound. All right, here we go.
He's going to center the snap for. He's going to do the field goal work.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Coach, he had possession of that basketball, and off the restart.
Yeah, it was hard to tell from that angle. Jackson, from where I said, it looked like he did.
Jackson comes up short. Washington with another rebound. Huskies with an 18-14 advantage, and Pondexter with the finish in the paint. Quincy Pondexter with 8 points.
It looks to me like Coach Romar said, hey, we got to start attacking inside again. That's how we got the lead in the first 7 points. We got to go inside. They're mixing that up now with the good 3-point shooting.
Wow. Hey, Pondexter called for the foul as Mackey dribbled into triple coverage, but he'll go to the line.
Thought he got bailed out on that one. He had nowhere to go.
Other Pac-10 teams in action tonight included the Oregon Ducks, which went to Washington, D.C. and defeated Georgetown 57-50. Juwan Porter had 11 points for the Ducks. Porter, one of 5 freshmen in the Pac-10 leading their teams in scoring. Pondexter of Washington, another one of those. We'll tell you about the other 3 presently. Interesting matchups for Washington, actually both ways. Brockman steals as Jackson tries to save it off of Pondexter, but actually Keone Watson got a hand in there, and Washington virtually with a fresh 35 clock.
Right, and they've got 9 offensive rebounds so far. That was pretty much an offensive rebound, but they got to finally get the rebound. They're falling out of bounds, have to make a desperate pass. There's another one, another offensive rebound.
Pondexter trying to work in triple coverage.
Yeah, you bring it down around those little guys, they pick it off.
Mackey tried to get fancy, lost the handle on it. Catches up to Oliver, who wisely backs out of the double team. Hot pass inside to Brockman.
That's a nice basketball play. He was measuring that, taking the three in his rhythm, saw the open man and was able to change. I think we have an injury on the floor out here.
Watson. Looks like he's having a little bit of trouble catching his breath.
I think he might have gotten hit in the throat.
They have been working hard underneath the basket. Yeah, that's exactly what it appears to be.
Here you'll see Nelson's getting ready to stroke that. As he goes up, he sees somebody's got a layup, gives it up. Nice basketball play. He's got a great feel for this game.
You go for those high percentage shots. Lorenzo Romar will take that all day long. Brockman, 61% shooter from the floor because he's getting opportunities like that.
And they're having trouble getting any offense. That took them 3 cuts to be able to make the pass to the wing. So now they're going to break it down. Somebody's got to do it on the dribble.
Off balance shot won't fall for Trevor Morris. Pondexter brings the Huskies up looking for a rub from Brockman. Pause just inside the free throw line. Can't get it to go, and the ball sticks between rim and glass. Possession arrow on a held ball ruling favors Idaho. Helped change the complexion of the Eastern Washington game and earns a takeaway for the Huskies there with good defensive pressure.
More turnovers. That's 10 now. And Washington has done a good job of handling the ball tonight. That's always been a problem for them. They're taking care of it tonight so far.
Right back to Pondexter, who is a little bit long, and Crowell steals the rebound from Spencer Hawes. 90 seconds remaining in the first half. Huskies by 7. Crowell left all alone right down Main Street beyond the arc, but now Idaho 4 out of 7 from 3. Washington working inside, playing the higher percentage game and building a lead.
Right there. Oh, they got a block on it though.
Wouldn't have paid you a lot on that wager. Oliver finishes the sequence with his first basket of the night. Mackey with 9 points and the ball in his hands. Crowell inside to Madsen. Splits the double team and scores. Andrew Madsen from Lewiston, Idaho, played here in the area at Edmonds Community College.
And that was the kind of a play that the coaching staff from Idaho has been working on, because they know how well the defense steps up. They were working on when you penetrate, you got to be under control. The big guy's going to step up. If your man steps up, you step to the basket. And if we make the good play, you'll get a layup. Work to perfection there.
Oliver has hit consecutive shots. Washington last weekend against Eastern Washington scored the last 11 points of the half. Washington, Lorenzo Romar will like this a lot. Has turned the ball over only 9 times here in the first 20 minutes. Mackey appeared to slide, and Oliver was thinking maybe he had a chance like he did on Sunday when he sank a half-court shot to finish that 11-point run. But again, ball protection. Washington with 4 turnovers. Also, the Huskies with 11 offensive rebounds to 1 for Idaho, and the Huskies finished the half on a 14-2 run to take the lead that you see at 38-29.
And, you know, like you said, 4 turnovers in the half for Washington. That's a major improvement. I know Coach Romar wanted to come out a little stronger than this, but they came back. It's working out for them.
Washington outscored Idaho by 12 points down the stretch to build a 9-point halftime lead at the Bank of America Arena. Welcome back, college basketball and FSN. Brian Davis and Bob Weiss. Tough flow to this ball game. The Huskies did not shoot the basketball well in the first half, especially at the start of the game where we're 1 of 7. But, you know, that 3 ball can change a lot in a hurry, can't it?
Yes, when they came in off the bench, they got a big lift off the bench. That's when the shooting from the outside started. Burmeister, Appleby, both those guys started connecting, and that really helped them get on track, and I think it's going to pick up everybody else too.
Each of those players 2 out of 5 beyond the arc. We talk about the significant size advantage that Washington enjoyed. Idaho has no players here in Seattle taller than 6'8", but you know, you think about perimeter shooting and maybe pulling the Washington defense apart, but give the Vandals credit. They built the lead that they enjoyed for a while here by attacking the basket, going inside.
Well, they were finally able to get stops, get a hold of the ball, and then they would attack in the flow. They got some good runouts. They got some good three-pointers. They made some nice plays, driving and making the pass to the other big men underneath the basket. So they've done a great job here, but they've got to cut down on those offensive rebounds if they want to be in the second half.
Now, we'll talk about that as we go along. Washington with 25 rebounds in the first half, and a dozen of those off the offensive glass. And so the Huskies, another good half, and Lorenzo Rumar will have a 6-0 start for Washington. Washington only shot 33% from the floor, but built that 9-point lead on the Idaho Vandals by outshooting, in terms of field goal attempts, outshooting the Vandals 42-25. Bob Weiss, how do you do that? You do that with defense.
Well, and hitting the offensive boards. That's how you get so many shots. But they did do another great job of defense here. Here's an example of it. They made a rare pass into the wing to be able to start their defense or offense, but they still can't get a shot. No good shots are coming here. The clock is in single digits. You'll finally have to take a desperation shot. That's why they're shooting a lower percentage from inside the 3 than they are from outside the 3. When they get the outside 3, their feet are set, they're ready to shoot it. They can't get a good shot inside.
Idaho's 5'10 guards, Mackey and Watson, combining for 17 points, but they did not score the last couple 3 minutes of the first half. And again, that was when Washington outscored the Vandals by a dozen down the stretch. We come back, we'll have the second half. A chilly night, we're expecting bad weather. Huskies and Vandals trying to heat it up for 20 more at the B of A. Early part of the game, Washington looked like it was going to run away and hide, scored the first 7 points of the contest, but consider that they only shot 1 out of 7 from the floor. They needed big moments from their big men, like Quincy Pondexter, to lead the team with 8 points. How about Brockman and Hawes getting into the act in the low post? They took a look at their three-point shooting earlier. Brockman 2 out of 8 from the floor, but 7 rebounds, and he and Spencer Hawes had a little combo.
Great pass right there by Brockman.
Pondexter with the 8 points on 3 of 7 shooting. Again, the Huskies 14 of 42 overall, 5 of 16 from 3. Meantime, the guards, Watson and Mackey, combined for 17 for Idaho. Got it going from outside. The three-point shot was not, though, the biggest part of their arsenal.
No, and you'll see here in this stretch, when everything was going good, it's all penetration and kickouts. That's the only kind of shots they've been able to create tonight. It's very difficult for them. Here's a breakaway. Again, one-on-one stuff. They have not been able to run their offense very well.
But out of 25 field goal attempts, only 7 from 3. The Vandals 4 out of 7. This is a team that Takes 43% of its shots, or has so far this season, from beyond the arc. Vandals trail by 9 as we start the second half on the campus of the University of Washington. Haas double teamed. Needs Detman to bail him out. Start it over again. Pondexter from the edge of the lane.
That was good defense by Idaho. Even better offense. Good patience by Washington.
So Pondexter 50% tonight. 4 of 8 from the floor. 10 points. The first Husky in double figures scoring. And Washington has a chance to add to its advantage as Johnson commits the 12th turnover for Idaho. Turnover's a big part of this. And again, Romar wanted his guys to value the rock.
Yes, they've done a great job, and they've even gotten more possessions besides handling the ball. Is the big difference in shots because of offensive rebounding.
Pondexter, this time from outside, knocks down the 3. Pondexter has the first 5 for Washington, and he extends the lead now to 14 points. Idaho only brought 10 players here to Seattle from Moscow. This is the least experienced, one of the least experienced teams in Division I. In terms of starts, all those JC transfers and the 2 true freshmen. Getting the shot clock down inside 10. Mackey is long. Brockman's rebound. Detman in transition. That's a way to stick the dagger in if you make it. But Brockman has the 13th offensive board of the night for the Huskies.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that shot. If his feet are set, I thought he was, he rushed it a little bit. But this is an important part of the ball game for the Vandals. They're about to get blown out if they don't really start making something happen here, because Washington looks like they're starting to get in the groove.
Watson drives, and then after he hears the whistle, throws it up, hoping for the chance to pull off a 3-point play. He's fouled on his way to the rack by Adrian Oliver. It's Oliver's first. Watson with 8 first-half points. The guy's a 75% free throw shooter.
He's got a nice little stroke there. Good player. A shot like Detman just took, as a coach, it's a funny thing, as a coach, you're over there saying, oh, I really don't want him to take that shot. But if you jump on him about it, there's a way you can talk to him where you're not going to get him thinking about, should I take a shot, should I not take a shot? And so there's a fine line there.
Oliver puts a nice move on Watson, and then Watson grabs him, slaps him on the way by. So Oliver's going to shoot 3 from the free throw line. 2 personals now on Watson. Watch this again.
He's got, he's quick. A lot of guys can't shoot that shot right there. The one dribble, fake a guy off, just get him off balance and pull up and take that quick jump shot. But he's got a good knack for that one. And even if he does fake you out, you don't want to foul him at 20 feet.
Oliver came into the ball game with only 30 field goal attempts, which amongst the group that plays 30 minutes or more a night for Romar, that was tied for fewest with Ryan Appleby. But he converts the pair of free throws. 22-4 now. Washington has outscored Idaho over the last 9.5 minutes.
Yeah, they're making their run here.
Watson into the trees to score.
And that's the way you stop a run. Good penetration. Haas got there maybe a count late.
Off the ball. Haas was tied up with Desmond and Nwoke, the Nigerian, and he's called for his 3rd personal. Oh man, Oliver got away with one there.
Holding his jersey, and you can see there that Haas has no business. He's going to play the ball. He's guarding a big man that hasn't taken I don't know how many shots tonight, but he's too close to him, can't get to the hoop.
Pondexter knocks down another triple, rolling that in like butter. 16 points, 5 rebounds. Pondexter has been much of the Washington offense here since intermission, and they lead by 16.
I don't know if he realizes he's not, that's not his strong part.
Don't tell him.
I know it. He's been great from the 3.
Brockman, another rebound. Appleby up the floor. Met by Watson, doesn't even wait. He just fires, and Brockman flying in to try to save it. Nearly does. Appleby with a little one-time pressure. Watson will go to the free throw line. Spencer Hawes running down the lane and made contact as Watson tried to finish the play.
Well, Appleby got a break there. I thought they were calling that on him. That would have been his 4th.
We talk about nobody bigger than 6'8" right now playing for George Pfeiffer in Idaho. They got a couple of 6'10" guys out and in the wings. Pfeiffer's anxious to have Mike Cale, who was with the team last year. Also Darren Nagel, who is a junior college transfer, but he's from the region, Potlatch, Idaho. And I'll be happy to have him back. Watson makes both of his free throws, but you get 3 6'10" guys in time for the conference schedule, and maybe you can get a little something going.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that coach doesn't have them right now. And you know, when you play a team like Washington, you'd like to have all your guns with you.
Nice vision by Brockman. Then Pondexter saw a lane and took it.
You know what? He not only saw the lane, he saw the man step in front of him to draw the foul. He was able to stop on a dime, veer to the left a little bit, and get that shot off.
Bobby's got 10 points in 3.5 minutes here in the second half.
So he's outscored Idaho.
Easily. 10-6. One thing the Vandals have done, they've been patient. They've run the shot clock down. And one thing, that they haven't been panicky about it. Watson over Appleby.
He wasn't panicky. He just waited until there was 1 on the clock and drained it.
17 points now for Keone Watson.
And you know what? I don't know if they're patient or they're just having trouble getting shots off.
Well, time is taken. 13-point lead for the Huskies. Huskies have gotten a strong showing to start the second half from the freshman Quincy Pondexter, but his Central Valley pal Adrian Oliver has also shown up. Pondexter inside and outside.
Yes, there he is from the outside. Great shot. Here's the one that impressed me, though. Watch this drive. Mackey steps right in front of him. He veers to the left, still can put it up there with nice touch. Another angle on it. Mackey still goes for the fall, trying to draw the charge. Didn't get it. But the thing about Pondexter, this team's shooting 33% from the field. Pondexter is 7 for 11 from the field.
Something that we've also seen out of him is his ability to get consistently to the free throw line. Crowell misses long. Dentman brings it up the floor. Disrupted momentarily by Watson. Haas double team.
That's the kind of shot he wants. His feet are set. The percentage on that thing is about 10 to 12 points higher than when a player dribbles up. The only guy I know that can do it that way is Ray Allen. He's great off the dribble. Most people need their feet set.
Appleby, I think that was a long deuce. And that's what the conversation is at the scorer's table. And there. You're seeing it with the officials right here because this is what we're showing. I think his feet were on the line. That's that right toe.
But I don't know if you can tell from that.
One more time. Can you stop it for them?
They just want to see themselves on TV again.
On the freeze. That's pretty close.
I'm agreeing with you, Brian. I think it's probably going to be a 2.
Brian Sorensen, Don McAllister, and Glenn Mayberry are
If it's that close, give him a 2.5. Let's go.
Well, if you can put tenths of a second onto the game clock, why not onto the scoreboard? No, bad idea. I have trouble with math as it is. But, you know, we talked at the very outset about Appleby maybe finding a stroke in a role in which he comes off the bench. He was shooting 37% as a starter. And tonight, whether it is a 2 or a 3, it's 3 out of 7, which is not great, but it
might be 3 out of 8. I think he missed one, or was that before this?
That was before.
Okay, so 3 out of 7.
Yeah, you guys can't see this because we're still feeding the replay to the officials. They have changed it to a 2-point basket. But away from the play, Spencer Hawes down at the other end of the floor just had his hands up in the 3-point signal.
They didn't agree with him either.
Nice pass inside, and Hawes blocks Watson. Great find inside. That's his second block as Hawes blows up the play. Off the inbounds pass. Nice idea. Tough shot for Johnson. Pass was a little bit too long for him. Dentman finds Pondexter. And Pondexter finds the net.
That was a great move. You know, he's made a 3. That time he looked at the rim. You get those guys stepping out to you. It opens up the drive. Not that he needs very much of an opening. He creates his own most of the time. But when you can shoot that 3, now they're really going to come after you. Coach Pfeiffer says, let's talk this over, guys.
17-point lead is Lorenzo Romar's largest. Full timeout is taken. We'll pause. Huskies with the big lead. Now, Romar pleading his case with the officials about that foul call on Hawes. To no avail. He has a seat. Brockman back on the floor. McKee is a little bit short. Good battle for the rebound, and the freshman David Jackson fouls Brockman.
Brockman's just been dominant going to those offensive boards.
Jackson was
Excuse me, that was a defensive board, but just in the boards in general.
Sorry, Jackson was going to go to Oral Roberts, and that fell through. Then he was going to go to New Orleans, the University of New Orleans, and they changed coaches, and he wound up in George Pfeiffer's program. And looking at him this morning, he's got a chance to be awfully good. Gasser with great effort along the baseline will shoot a pair.
And that was a nice play by Oliver. Brought the ball to the left, drew 2 people off a pick and roll, then he spun around, and Gasser was able to take it to the hoop.
Now, like a freshman, sometimes Jackson will get into foul trouble, and that was his 3rd.
Yeah, you just don't know your limitations sometimes. When you move up a level, it's very difficult to just get the feel of the ball game on how to stay out of trouble and pick up those quick fouls.
Hans Gasser had 6 points and 5 rebounds against Eastern Washington. Converts both free throws. And see, the Huskies started 0 for 3 and are now 9 for 9 since from the free throw line. Pressure. Morris loses the handle. Appleby racing to recover his position, winds up with the basketball and promptly gives it away. Mackey.
I think I saw this movie, The Keystone Cops Come to Basketball.
Oh,
it's you, Christmas.
Oh, they're going to call Madsen for a block. And Adrian Oliver's going to shoot 1 and 1. It's Andrew Madsen's 3rd personal foul. Man.
They've been talking about a combo game of soccer and basketball, and I think we're seeing it here tonight.
Hey, if you're a Husky fan, you can laugh because your guys are up 16 points.
That makes it a little easier.
Huskies in control with a 16-point lead over the Vandals as we head to the middle of the second half, the Bank of America Arena at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. Clarence S. Heck Edmondson. This building is named after him. Born in Moscow, Idaho. Actually went to the University of Idaho, ran track, was an Olympian, went back to Idaho. Coached basketball there from 1916 to 1918, and then in 1921 began a 27-year run as the head basketball coach at the University of Washington. Now, what's interesting about that is that this team, oh, boy, more slop here. Burmeister will hold the story for a second because this is getting interesting. Gasser finishes. Got 4 consecutive points now for Washington.
They're making this exciting.
Idaho owes its nickname to Heck Edmondson, the Vandals, because in 1918 a sports writer said his basketball teams at the University of Idaho played with the sort of reckless abandon that you would think a Vandal might employ.
Didn't know that. See, this is educational as well as entertaining.
Put it in the newspaper, and it's stuck. Appleby for 3.
He's still trying to prove me wrong on that dribble up percentage.
Sets himself well and forces Watson to take a tougher shot.
Yeah, it was good defensive position there.
Oliver finds Brockman inside, has it stripped away by the freshman Oworo. Held basketball. Favors Idaho. So yeah, so we bring this thing full circle. Heck Edmondson is part of both Idaho's and Washington's athletic tradition. He wound up coaching track till 1955. Now, Brockman opened the season with a 25 and 12 double-double, and he's back to 12 rebounds. That ties a career high. Should set a new one tonight.
Yeah, he's done a great job. This UW has played very well, controlled the ball. I mean, handled the ball very well tonight. Only 7 turnovers. Up to the point where it was 59-43. The thing is getting a little out of hand. I think they're getting just a little loose right now. So I expect the turnovers to be going up a little bit. And Coach Romar would probably like to see him come in with a very low number tonight as a group.
Michael Crowell shoved off trying to get position under the basket, called for his 3rd personal. Brockman fouled by Madsen.
That was nice ball movement. And that was actually organized. This is how you play it when they want to front the post. See the front there? The big man comes to the top to draw out the help from behind. Now he can throw it in, and that results in a foul. It's called a high-low. Just bring the big man up, let him drop it in.
George Pfeiffer warned his guys that if Washington had the basketball in that position right at the top of the arc, it was going to be trouble for them.
And he said, and they'll be showing it on FSN.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. Actually, I'll tell you what, I really took a shine to George Pfeiffer, always teaching. And when you've turned the thing over the way that he has, you have to.
Yeah, he was doing a good job today, working with people, showing them where things were going to happen and why.
Oworo to Crowell. Offensive foul. That is 4.
And that was definitely a good call. Michael didn't like that call, but I don't know how Crowell could dispute that one. The feet were set. He was there. You've got to be ready for that when you drive against this Washington team.
He's committed 2 fouls now on Idaho's last 2 trips up the floor, and Wolke and Brockman tied up, and Brockman is going to be called for the personal here.
Yeah, he and Spencer Hawes both really extend their arms, and they fight hard for position, but occasionally if that arm gets too high, they will call you for an elbow foul. Or if your arm gets extended, you can extend your elbows, but you can't put your arms out and wipe a guy out.
And that goes as a turnover, and again, you see this year the Huskies averaging almost 4 more turnovers. Last in turnover margin.
And that's one of the things they'll want to get a control of before they start their conference play.
Jackson playing in only his 3rd game. Oliver does a nice job of changing direction and attacking the basket, and Gasser goes to the floor, and I think he's going to be given the benefit, and Idaho might be in Wilkie is going to be called for a foul. That's 4 on Milwaukee.
Good drive by Oliver. Watch how the big man gets on top. He's fronting Brockman, and that's always a good time to drive as a guard because the big man is out of position to help on any kind of baseline drive. He didn't make the shot, though.
Desmond Nwoke, the Nigerian-born, missed the 04-05 season. He was seriously injured in an automobile accident. Tough way to take your red shirt year. There's George Pfeiffer. He's only got 10 players here. 2 from last year, 2 true freshmen, and 6 junior college transfers. 10 team fouls against Idaho. Washington now shooting 2 for every common foul the rest of the way. First miss in a while from the line for Washington.
They were busy getting players this year. I know Coach had a couple of assistants living in a bedroom together because they didn't have time to go get an apartment. He said, if it doesn't involve getting me players, don't do it.
Least attractive job, I think, on the planet is assistant coach in a college football or college basketball program. Quincy Pondexter now guarding Awaro out high. Watson gets himself a little room by shoving off on Denton. Croyle lost the handle on the basketball, and the official saw it go off Gasser first.
If that was golf, we give him a mulligan. That was not a. He's not. Yeah. Can't be happy with that call.
Pondexter, by the way, you saw the number 20 points. His career high is 22. And Awaro is going to shoot an extra free throw and a chance to convert a 3-point play. Right into your lazy boy.
You be the ref. Was he set?
Close call. Thought he was moving just a touch.
And when it's sometimes when the score gets like this, if it's that close, they'll give it to the underdog.
That's the first free throw that Awaro has missed all season. He's made his first 8. Now Haas the bullet into Gasser. He's going to go back to the free throw line. Jackson missed him, but Watson got him.
He completed that one, but I don't know how good. He was lucky to get that one through the hands. Nice pass and good hands by Gasser.
Washington has missed now 5 free throws tonight after missing 11 in each of the last 2 games. Victories over Sacramento State. See Haas tonight sitting on a career high. You know, when you're talking about a true freshman, as Haas is out of Seattle Prep High School, career high is a term you use advisedly because he's played all of 6 games.
But he's rebounding tonight, and you know, he's got 8. One of the things they want more from him.
Carry the basketball. Did Clyde Johnson. We're going the other way. 18 turnovers now to only 7 assists. Idaho has 1 assist in this half, and Haas turns around, faces the basket. We want to talk about big man, little man. Big man starts it. Little man goes inside to finish.
I was laughing because I looked over at Coach Pfeiffer's expression after he sees they force Haas to shoot a long jump shot, and Dentman, the smallest guy on the team, comes in and gets the offensive putback.
From downtown, Johnson spins one in. Three-pointers have been harder to come by for the Vandals here in the second half.
3 seconds! 3 seconds!
4-7 in the first half and 6 out of 12 here in the second. No more contact near the half line. Washington with a 17-point lead. Pfeiffer's got a little trouble with that one. $67.50. Mom and Dad, Lisa and Jeff Haas, watching their son establish a new high his young collegiate career with now 9 rebounds to go along with 7 points. Brandon Burmeister giving the Huskies their largest lead of the night at 19 points. Dentman and Watson are working each other over out there.
They're maintaining their defensive intensity,
showing each other every move they have. Nice ball rotation. Crowell rattles down a long deuce.
That was nice execution. The defense really wasn't that bad. Everybody was rotating. Just good execution offensively.
I think Madsen has just earned himself a seat on the bench. Check that. That's only his 3rd personal foul. Pondexter will go to the free throw line, sitting on 20 points. 22 is his high.
It's been frustrating all night for the Vandals, having these guys come in. You make them miss a shot, and then their athleticism and size just helps them get the rebound.
You know, interesting, if you look at the numbers, Pondexter along with Adrian Oliver, and then the seniors, Burmeister and Gasser, the only 4 players on Washington's roster with more assists than turnovers. Pondexter has now tied that season and career high. Good look, and Johnson passed one up to give Watson a long chance. Crowell with the rebound and the battle underneath. He fouls Artem Wallace. And Wallace is going to shoot 2.
Vandals get a rare offensive rebound. I think that's only 3 tonight for them.
Crowell has fouled out. Now you hear the left, right, left.
I know.
Right,
I think I'd skip someplace along the line just to mess them up.
And then they'll get the sit down. Artem Wallace gets a little love from the back of the iron. But no love there. Nelson gets the rebound and the putback. Man, he had a guy on front and a guy behind him spun and scored high off the glass. Washington's lead now 22. Look at that.
Oh.
Look at that. Somebody's fouling somebody there.
Yeah, that could very easily have been called an offensive foul if he'd have made contact, because he did shoot an elbow at him. He's getting frustrated.
And off of his foot.
Yeah, Watson's used to only having one guy in that jersey, and Dentman was right in there with him.
Let's get him here. Going to need a double X. Harvey Perry on the floor. Nice to see him back in action. Wallace finds him. Huskies really in no hurry at this point with the big lead. Perry finds Nelson. Whoops. Passed up the three-point shot. Gets it back from Perry. Pondexter's offensive rebound. And that is a new career high for Quincy Pondexter.
Plus, he got fouled on the shot.
Must be getting tired. They're passing up shots. Mackey, a three-pointer. Been a long time since we had heard from him.
I don't know if I've ever been that tired. Pass up a shot.
Mackey with 18 points, and Watson at the other end blocks Pondexter along the baseline, and Q is going to get a chance to add to his new collegiate high. 4 fouls now, sorry, on Watson.
And he's done it so efficiently tonight. He's only taken about, 14 shots tops, and he's got 24 points.
Told you it's that new tight look he's wearing on top of his head.
He probably does get up higher now.
Aerodynamic, less wind resistance. Works for me. Increased my mile time from 9:30 to 9:28.
And that's in your bike.
Nice hand for Quincy Pondexter as he has a seat. Perry, Appleby, Wallace, Gasser, and Nelson on the floor now for the University of Washington. The Huskies firmly in control. Morris has not been his best shooting night. Wallace is blocked by Johnson. At the other end, Jackson feeds Morris, and this one he knocks down for 3.
That was a nice pass by Nelson. I'd like to see him get a, have a good couple minutes here. He's been struggling. It would really help him to come in and make things happen.
Ooh. Perry was going to no-look that one to Nelson, but Nelson broke a little too far to the basket, so it's a turnover, but a big lead for Washington late. Washington with a 19-point lead. Chip Hanauer. Tremendous career on the water, racing the Hydros. Wait a minute, he's a coup.
He's a coup.
Washington State's finest.
So is this guy. Oh, no.
See, Pondexter took off like he was driving a hydroplane. Starting the second half, he had 8 at intermission, wound up with 17 here in the second half. New high 25 points. I'll tell you what, Idaho continues to battle here.
Yeah, they're going to fight you.
Huskies have scored 19 points off of 19 Idaho turnovers. And Hans Gasser with
two more offensive rebounds, too. That takes it to 22.
There you go. Gasser with 9 points. Jackson floats one down. He's only had a couple of baskets. Oh. At the other end. And Wolke has worked his way to the bench with his 5th personal foul, and Perry's going to shoot 2.
That's his 5th personal foul.
Harvey Perry, the sophomore out of North Las Vegas. Check the redshirt freshman out of North Las Vegas, Nevada. Got a back injury.
Harvey Perry, shooting 2.
College basketball.
Just once I'd like to see him start bending and then stand back up. You know, mess with the crowd too.
Perry knocks down the second. Gasser with 9 points on the night as a season high. He's back on the bench. Morris a little bit long with the triple. Wallace. What was the term you used, Bob? You put a little pepper on that pass, and Nelson can do that.
Yeah, he saw it. It was boy, Appleby rotates so well. He's such a good team defensive player. He comes all the way from the weak side to go down there and stop the penetration.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, the energy that he brings to you, we talked about his three-point shooting, but the energy that he can bring to you as your 6th man.
Yeah, and, you know, and you have confidence in him, too. Sometimes, you know, if he's a starter and you're bringing in somebody, now all of a sudden the things are not going well, you're bringing in a freshman. This way, if they start Oliver, now they can bring in somebody with a lot more experience if things are going bad.
Working against a double team and scoring. Arden Wallace. Numbers haven't been the prettiest, but Lorenzo Romar says he thinks that Wallace is very close to breaking out. And goaltending is the call here. You can hear George Pfeiffer all the way over here say, no, it wasn't.
And you know what? I agree with him.
Yeah, that was just a great hustle play. But
I didn't think it was on the rim, but it could have been.
Wallace hooks it over Johnson. Idaho basketball. Arden Wallace, the sophomore out of Toledo, Washington, averaging 12 minutes a game. And in those 12 minutes has been giving you 3.5 rebounds, which is pretty good production. Madsen can't finish. Brockman off the glass, has his outlet pass stolen. There's the career high for John Brockman.
Yeah, he got two there in a row. I think he threw that pass away intentionally so he could get another rebound.
Nelson airballs it right to Wallace.
Moses Malone used to do that. He missed 3 layups in a row. Just get him back, put it up, put it up, put it up.
Was that Kevin Willis's trick too?
No, Kevin wanted to score. He didn't care.
Appleby's in double figures now, 11 points on 4 out of 10 shooting, 3 of 9 from beyond the arc. Washington is going to go to 6-0. Idaho will fall to 1-5. Southern Utah is the Huskies' next date. Southern Utah will be in here on Monday. We'll have that game right here on FSN. And then, well, I'll tell you what, now you're talking about some serious firepower in terms of national ranking. Gonzaga, that is in Spokane. Then LSU will be in town. And just off the chart, you've got the top ranked team UCLA on New Year's Eve. Washington's largest margin of victory, 28 points. They're leading here by 23. They got Michigan State by 28. Morris with the turnaround. Morris actually has had he's 3 of 9, 1 of 5 from beyond the arc, and that'll do it. Washington 6-0. You know, after starting 5-0 last year, 6-0 now, it's the first time the Huskies have done that in better than 30 years, going back to the days when Marv Harshman was the head coach, just before the time that Lorenzo Romar played for him. The Huskies 6-0, Vandals 1-5. Washington with an 87-66 victory here tonight at the Bank of America Arena.
Did a lot of things well tonight. Kept the turnovers down, hit the boards hard. Pondexter was just out of his world. He was tremendous tonight. The only guy that really shot it well for him. I don't think anybody else was close to 50%.
Washington shook off a slow start with solid work on the offensive glass. Moved the basketball around well and winds up tonight with a 21-point victory over Idaho. Now for Bob Weiss and the rest of the gang in the truck and on the floor, I'm Brian Davis, bidding you good night from Seattle. The final again, 87-66, Huskies over the Vandals. So long from the Bank of America Arena.